Whoops. There we go. Now I'm live. Hello, everyone. Oh, how are we doing today? Hello, Kyrie. Yeah, I'm still in the process of recovering from being ill, so do bear with me. Today, I want to get started on this month's sort of building theme, which is to build some Jurassic Park Operation Genesis buildings. But before we get started, I just wanted to show that I have finished now the 4 different versions of the security center that we started building for last month. So the Din version, the Jurassic Park version, the Jurassic World version, and the Japan version, which I think is the one I'm most happy with. Quite ornate. So all 4 of these are done, and these will be on the workshop at some point next week as additional buildings for your parks. So yes, but today we're going to get started on a JPOG building, and we're going to get started with the gift shop. Now, the gift shop is a relatively simple structure. It's just basically 2 circles. One large circle and one slightly smaller one. Sorry. So the slightly smaller one is kind of off to one side. That. And then you kind of have a roughly not quite that. Probably something like... So it's that sort of shape. Hello, Marconian. I am just going to bring up on my other monitor the picture I took earlier. Yeah, it's a bit like that. Again, it's it's a tricky sort of shape to get right, but it'll be basically about that big. So really now, it's just a matter of implementing everything that we need to construct it. Yes, Jurassic World Evolution 3 modding has been, at least for the time being, killed. I say for the time being because there's every possibility that someone will come along and take over. But for the time being, the original team that was part of Open Cobra Tools has decided to stop, essentially. And they are in every right to do so. I don't know, like, the full ins and outs of the situation. I know some of the situation, let's put it like that. This building is actually going to need quite a space around it, I've just realized. It needs, like, a frontage. So it'll be something. It'll be something along that size. Now, I think the first thing to focus on is to get this correct. Once we have like the main circle correct, it'll make it easier to do the rest. Obviously, it's not going to be a perfect rendition. We need to find a way of giving us like a door here. Yeah, and then obviously you have... let's just have a look at this version of Honor. Obviously you then have like... a covered walkway. It's actually quite a tricky shape. Hello, chat. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Just still recovering from being ill. And hello, Luna. Right. Now, we do need to sort of divide this up. We also need to put in a series of windows, but I don't want the windows to be too large. See, these are too wide. I want them to be... Really, I want them to be smaller than that. They don't have a smaller version that maintains the angle. We're gonna have to use these and... think of a way around that. That's about right. So yeah, we're gonna have to sort of find a way of covering up part of these. That's not in line, is it? This is the thing that annoys me about the modular building in this game, is that even when you use the pieces as intended, they still don't fit properly. I mean, look at that. They are nowhere near in line. Anyway. are all slightly too big for the radius. Right. Now, the side of the building doesn't have like big glass windows. If we look at the actual building itself, it's got like it's divided by pillars and smaller pieces of columns. So right, okay. So we need something that can be those big columns, which I'm thinking, we've only got these. We've only got these. The columns are square though, aren't they? They are. So actually this works out fine. I'm going to make these ones ever so slightly smaller, just for some texture. Okay. Duplicate. And we're going to follow the building as much as we can. Need another one at the 45 degree angle, which is apparently that. Do it manually. So a little bit more. That'll do. And merge it. Problem is going to be that line down that window. Maybe we could actually fit the smaller ones in there. Windows and doors. Maybe we could get away with using these. Oh yeah, I'm with you, Kairu. The Rebirth DLC is not going to be one I am particularly looking forward to, just because I don't have that much interest in most of the animals that are in it. Yeah, no, that still doesn't work. You know, oops. Maybe we'll just have to do straight windows to get the best that we can from this. We might just have to go with straight panels. Let me expand them slightly. You know what? I think I vastly prefer that to what we had with the other ones. So let's stick with this. Just have to make sure that stuff is positioned properly. That's better. Get rid of these. Ah, where is the... I think that's the halfway point. About there. Are those pillars... I'm going to have a look at this bigger again. The outside of the building is ever so slightly bigger, so they are... Okay. It's a surprisingly complicated shape. Hello, good Modra. Why do pterosaurs fly over invisible fences? Because Dominion introduced that plot hole, I guess, is the only answer to that question. This mouse feels too sensitive. Drop that down a bit. Okay, no, we're gonna have to put some additional columns in the middles here. Or, more accurately, just have to do it as we go. That needs to be... This bit may take a while. I mean, the idea of invisible fencing is not inherently stupid, but Dominion certainly introduced a bunch of elements that struggle to make much sense to me. Like the idea that apparently every creature that Biosyn had was apparently 100% pure, and yet none of them looked accurate at all. How could you claim that they were 100% pure and have completely inaccurate designs? I mean, the Moros Intrepidus is a clear example of that. It doesn't look a thing like Moros Intrepidus. Dominion had poor execution. I wouldn't say that it had poor execution. I think it executed itself very well. I think the problem with the Jurassic franchise, and it's a problem that it's had, I would argue, ever since the first film, really, is the Jurassic franchise doesn't know what it wants to be anymore. Like, it had one good movie idea, which served it very well. And then everything ever since has been them trying to figure out, well, what do we do with this franchise now? That, I think, is the real thing that Jurassic has struggled with. It doesn't know what sort of movie it's supposed to be anymore. It doesn't know how it's supposed to do characters anymore. It's, you know, it just is uncertain of itself. That, I think, is the real problem. Yeah, exactly, Dino Man. I agree with you. Like, Michael Crichton himself recognized that there really wasn't a sequel that you could make from that, and yet they forced him to. And what I think is even more telling is that the story that Crichton came up with, the filmmakers decided not to go with. Like, the actual book, The Lost World, is nothing. It has absolutely nothing to related to Crichton's work at all, apart from making Ian Malcolm alive instead of dead. That's the only bit of Crichton in it. Like all franchises that go on for a long time, eventually they use up all their good ideas, and then they start, making content about less good ideas. Like, oh, well, what if all the dinosaurs magically died? Honestly, I think the best thing for Jurassic is just for it to end. But of course, in this day and age, nothing is allowed to end. The idea that a franchise can just bow out gracefully no longer seems to be a thing. The video games are enough. Well, I would argue that Jurassic hasn't even really been truly very successful with video games. Like, I would argue none of them have been breakout hardcore successes. Even the Evolution games, yeah, they make money, but none of them have been, like, as successful as something like City Skylines, or even inherently Planet Zoo, for that matter. So, honestly, I think the biggest problem with Jurassic in games is that they're very limited in the genres that they pick for them. Which is why I'm so looking forward to seeing what happens with Survivor, because at last it's a Jurassic game taking full advantage of a survival horror-esque setting, which I think will work really well. Those two I'm going to delete because you're going to have to figure out how to sort of do the outside, like, little vending machine. Well, not vending machine, but where the worker is stood giving out gifts to people. We're gonna have to figure out how to do that little area. But that is roughly the outside. And then from here, you have... Oh, that's tricky. Where's that picture I took? Yeah, so you have the equivalent of a column that's kind of here-ish. And then obviously one over here. And then you have a column that's basically the same here and on the other side. And then you have the frontage. So yeah, that's more or less it. Right. We need to do the top. You see, now this is the problem. That gives us the lip. We would have to reposition every... These aren't big enough. Alright. How can we make these bigger? They need to be like here. Or do we just go with the lip and we put thatch around the edge? We could just put some thatch around the edge. I mean, we could even angle the columns. I mean, these are a bit boring, and we're not trying to go for exactly the same. Like, I don't mind a little artistic liberty, so we could angle the columns. let's just put the rest of these bits in. Now obviously this roof wall is also needed. So, hello Navi. So we need a roof for this, and again we want it to be. Would be hanging way further. That's nowhere near the right. So, when you're trying to build something, but the game just doesn't provide you the pieces you want. These are external radius. So they would have to go there. Then that is. Then we want this block. More or less like that. Yeah, I don't mind that. That gives like an open-ish entrance to the to the doors. I have not seen the trailer to End of Oak Street, primarily because I just have no interest in that particular film. It just looks like the standard sort of cliche monster movie, and I just have no interest in them anymore. And I mean, I saw the Allosaurus, and I was like, good God. That is poor. Right. Now, the roof of this building needs thatch. So let's put the thatch on here first. And I'm going to be optimistic. Put the biggest one on here that we can. And then the roof of the other bit is just plain. So with a few, looks like wooden cross beams in it. So again, I guess we'll just fill this in. Yeah. Do I have a image of? No, I do not. I need to decide what to do in here. Do we have diagonals, right? Yeah. If we were to put just a straight wall in here, we need to twist it slightly. And then we'll obviously put a door. Actually, let's do this now while we remember. I'm thinking, since we're doing it JPOG style, we'll go with the classic door. And then I'm thinking we surround that with windows. So Hollywood doesn't understand feathers at all. Yeah. Really? I tell you what I would love, modular building wise, is some modular pieces which are literally just this plaster with all these bones and that in them. So we don't have to resort to doing shit like this. Get that out in a minute. Right. Now we need some wood. I think... yeah, we'll go with these guys. The thing is, these need to be more or less sticking out from the plaster. Something like that. You should be happy it's not worse. That's honestly, I hate that sort of reason, that sort of thinking. It's like, oh well, it's shit, but it could be more shit. Like, that's not much of an excuse. How about we stop accepting shit and actually push for something that's a little better? But there I go, thinking logically again. Maybe we could do something with like wooden beams. I still might put some uh I forgot the name of it now. Thatch. I still might put some thatch around the outside of this roof. Because I'll be honest, the low poly JPOG version of this building, the roof is really plain, and I do want to kind of spruce it up a bit. Maybe with some artificial grass, actually. Okay. So there's the wooden surround that's in that picture. I am going to assume we do not have thatch that is wide enough for that. We only have thatch that is wide enough. Half. You know what's really annoying? These large radius pieces would be so much better if they were half the size. Because we only have thatch that fits that size. And we don't have wood that's that radius either. I wonder if we do. Where is? So if we make this. Ooh. You know, that is not far off. What we need. As long as it's roughly the same on either side, which it is. That gives us a little bit of a lip, which we can put some wooden beaming in, and it gives us just a little bit of stuff on the roof. So let's go with needs to be angled just a smidge more. Nice. Now, obviously, we can hide all of this. That's not a biggie. Let me look underneath. Camera! God. Uh, just a little bit more. Oh, hello, Evo. Oh, is it that time of year again for all the terrible mobile anime games to strut their stuff while the rest of us wait for news about actual games that aren't glorified gambling systems? Ah. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to turn... Where is the actual... The... We're not going to use the balloon T-Rex because we don't have a balloon T-Rex. So I'm just going to use the standard statue. So the statue is kind of in the middle. So what I'm going to do is plonk some of this lovely grass. Uh, the statue will go there, and we'll put a ring around that. And then we've got that texture on the roof. that we can implant into that. So, I do want to trim this. The dreaded T word trim, but I think we'll do is we'll go for a relatively subtle trim. We'll just go with brick. The bit that you must do if you want your modular buildings to look better is you must trim them. It's just one of those things you can't not do. I think we'll go with non-curvy trim. Yeah, it's not looking too bad so far. It's a surprisingly intricate design. I thought this when I was remaking the JPOG viewing tower. It's surprising how complicated actually those relatively simply built structures were. This should just help connect the building to the ground a bit better. Obviously, the hardest thing we're going to have is to do the actual, like, interior of the shop bit, because we just don't really have the components for it. I think the best we're going to be able to do is probably make some mock balloons or something. We just don't really have the pieces for a mock shop. Oh, and we probably want to put in the doors. Just for that added Jurassic feel. Put in one of the classic columns. Right. Next up. Oh, and there should be like a sign here, but we'll do that. We'll do that in a minute. What I want to do first, before the thing becomes any more complicated, is get the colors right. So this is more or less the color that all the stonework is. So let's have a look. So that. It's the base of the columns which are a different color to the tops. The shop is the same color as the bottom of the column. And then all this up here is basically that same color too. Oh, I missed out a few columns there, didn't I? Now the base of the columns is basically just the same sort of color, just darker. So something like that. Where's my non-functional viewing tower? There it is. Okay, so I just painted it black. So okay. So let's go with that color then. And all the bases of these columns have to be that color, as well as the base of the shop. Trim kind of stands out of it, doesn't it? Maybe I can make the trim. Actually, I don't mind the trim standing out like that. The wood needs to be changed though. We're gonna have to go with a darker wood color, I think. Just because at the moment it kind of blends in too much to take some time. I know on the actual in-game design, this wood is basically the same color as the rest of the building, but I would rather it stand out. So that looks better, in my opinion. Hello, Iron Moose. I'm doing okay. How are you doing? I have seen the trailer for The Lost Wild. Honestly, I think it looks painfully generic. Also, it's entirely pre-rendered, so... Again, until we see some actual gameplay. This is going to be... This is the problem here. I can have that, but then obviously it sticks through here. But if I get rid of it, I end up with a horrible gap. There's no other piece that does what I need for that gap, because we don't have a non-gridded version of this piece. Very frustrating. Let's take a momentary pause. Get the floor right. Now, the floor is tile 2, and I want it to give us a decent You know what's annoying is that the actual picture of the thing from the wiki website is not from the position of the where you go in. Maybe it's a better idea to start with the outer area first. Tile 1, I think. So, tile 1. Interesting, they actually have these horrible white tiles all around the shop. Then they also have them leading up to the door, but I'm going to change that. Because down one side, they actually have a seating area, so... Then they have kind of a tile thing going on in the middle. I recently installed JWE3 on my Xbox. Do you have any tips for modular building? Suppose my first question would be, how comfortable are you with modular building already? Like, have you played a modular building game before? It's actually turning out to be a bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. That's more or less the floor plan. Like I say, I'm not going for an exact replica, but that's more or less the rough floor plan. Now, I wonder if we can get the colors correct. If Sims count, then yes, but if not, then no, I haven't. Although, no, I do have a wireless mouse. Iron Moose, I'm not sure you understood my question. What I meant was, have you played modular building games before? Like Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo, Prehistoric Kingdom. Those are the big ones. I'm pretty sure there's probably others. Color. Oh, no, you haven't. Okay, so my advice to you would be to start small. Don't expect to build stuff like this uh, straight away. Start with something relatively simple, like something like this, like a planter or a decoration. Um, something that you can get used to the controls. That would be my first tip. Um, Especially if you are going to be playing on controller. Controller, it's just, and it's just harder. Like console gamers, they can scream defense of their hardware as much as they like. The fact is, a mouse is simply better for stuff where you need tactile control. Other than that, it's when it comes to modular building, it's mostly a question of practice and patience. If you can be patient and practice often, like you'll just get you will get better at it. What colors did I use for this one? Let's go with these colors, if only so it matches my other JPOG building. So I would like to do a series of these buildings, and I would like them to match each other. Because now I have the rough shape. The obviously the kiosk building, like the food building, is just basically the same shape. So did I go for white or black? I went with white. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Iron Moose, I did also I have made a video on it. So it was a while ago. Let me see if I can find it actually. There it is. Copy video link. There you go. If you watch that video, Iron Moose, that's just some general tips for improving modular building and getting more used to it. So that should help. Right. Blimey, we're an hour and a half in. I wanted to get this done in the 2.5 hours. So, but we're not that far off, I don't think. let's do the other annoying bit, which is this. We want it to be the same color as that. Modular building does take a long time. It does, but I also think it doesn't. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I was thinking about this yesterday while I was building my Japanese security building. It does take a long time, but I kind of am starting to gel with that. There is something to be said for being able to just sort of zen out and just focus on spending a few hours building something. It can be surprisingly relaxing. I mean, for content creation, like me and Evo, it's terrible because it takes forever. Streams end up kind of dull, and it doesn't matter how good me or Evo ever get at this. We're never going to be the same level as the architecturally minded folks that make these absolutely incredible structures on Planet Zoo, for example. Thank you, Imus. I don't consider myself a great modular builder. I am still struggling to think of my own sort of architectural style that I want to build for eventually my like first generated island park. I want it to have its own unique style, and I'm still struggling to come up with an architectural flair for that. This should just make the roof look a little bit more realistic. Gonna have to figure out what to do up here. And I need to figure out what to do about this. This is annoying. Maybe we should just do what we've done here and just wood the rest. At least that way it'll match. Well, obviously for this build, it is just an Operation Genesis build. I have also dabbled in other building themes, though, like the DIN. The DIN theme is probably my favorite to mess around with, just because I like the colors. I have to say, I don't like the way that this interferes with the thatch. Again, so much of the difficulty of modular building in this game comes down to the fact that they just won't give us the... They've given us pieces, but the pieces don't function correctly. There's some obvious artistic mistakes. Like here, that corner. Like, what are we supposed to do about stuff like that? We haven't been given a piece to handle something like that. Can I have the object over here? How do we hide that? Where would that have to be? Maybe that's not too... basically have to be there. Maybe just... all this to hide a bloody piece of roof. Z fighting is gonna get on my wick. Okay, so that actually means we can put that back in. I have no idea what we're gonna do. We'll hide that. We'll just hide that with a tree or something. I have no idea what to do about the inside. That's a whole nother matter. Right, let's get our statue in. Where is... Now, obviously, we can't have him as a big floaty balloon. So what I'm going to do instead is we'll have him as a... just as a big statue. Is that not the right size? We need to put some... no. Oh, actually, make that bigger. There we go. Again, just trim around the edge of where the grass is. And I have to put a block in the middle. Hide you kids? I don't think so. Hmm? Well, technically they announced Alien Isolation 2 ages ago. Yeah. But, like, they'd already shown off, like, a teaser for it, so... Oh, I think that's a timeout for you, kaiju kids. Right. I will be playing Alien Isolation 2 when it comes out. That much I had already decided on ages ago. Rex is actually kind of in the way. It's not identical to how the roof looks on the JPOG version, but it's close enough. There we go. I suppose that means we need to now decide what to do about this. I think the easiest solution is probably just going to be to seal up the inside of the roof. It's a bit boring, but it's the safest thing to do. This piece of wood here. Is that now combining with that one? It is. Not quite. That will just about do. No one's going to look too closely up there. It just has to pass a cursory look. Let me duplicate you, please. Right. Any idea how to do the inside? Because this is supposed to be a shop, but we don't have the pieces for it. We really don't have the sort of interior sets. So I don't know what to do about that. I don't even know what the inside of the damn thing looks like. It's just vending stuff. Burgers, always burgers and fries. That was the JPOG setup that I usually went to, burgers and fries. Let's get Rexy embedded in, and then we can think about. I think we need one more of those big bushy bushes. Just, in the back there. Oh, the sign is needs to go up as well. The sign is just like a semicircular piece of wall we don't have access to. The amber, not the amber statue, the ammonite statue probably makes the most sense. But how do we do the little semicircular bit? I don't think we can, so we're probably gonna have to improvise. Oh, delete. Ah, this is going to take some time. Came up a little bit short. Not perfect, but really. It's more or less it. Oh, they have the Jurassic Park symbol up there. We don't have that, though, as a sign, do we? It's another one of those things we don't have. You just have the writing. No. I kind of prefer the ammonites. Right, for the rest of this, we have to do like a little awning sort of thing. These pieces don't really work very well for it. We don't really have an alternative. These... That's just not going to fly. We don't really have something remotely like it in here either. And that's probably as close to it as we have. These are just way too big. Maybe we can do squares then instead. It's not perfect, but it does at least kind of get the point across. Ah. This one is too big. So maybe we'll just have to put a symbol. Oh. Okay. What do we use for those? Because in the base game, they're just held up with pretty naff looking tiny metal bars. Technically, it looks like bamboo. Classified in not classified under posts. Like that might work. Hmm. No, no, no. Gonna have to... It's such a weird thing that they stick in the middle of that model. Just, here's some random awning. Just stretched over. We've got 20 minutes left. I hate these awnings. Irregular shapes. There is the just generic black T-Rex sign, but I don't know. I kind of prefer the ammonite. We're going for a rough reimagining, not like a perfect reimagining. I mean, we can't get it perfect anyway because we just don't have the pieces for it. Ah. Not perfect, but I am okay with that. Right, it's like the color is like a off blue, more like turquoise. Something like that. I'm gonna assume it is not going to. That's the problem. Because this is a bizarre shape. It just doesn't line up nicely. So maybe we'll just stick to having one set of supporting bars. Just at least give it some support. I still don't know what to do for in here. Maybe just honestly, I don't know what to put in here. But actually, maybe I do. An idea has occurred. Tad big. It's not a perfect idea, but the possibility that they're selling replica fossils, it's it's reasonable, I think. really, that's pretty much it. Like, the rest is just minor decoration now. Like, how do we sort of improve upon the existing one from JPOG? It's a little bit annoying we can't change the color of this. So they use quite a lot of the lights everywhere. I prefer to replace the lights with the planters, just because I think it looks nicer. And then foliage-wise... Hmm. About JPOG, such nostalgia. Yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia for it. Especially given that I think it still does an awful lot that I think games that have come since just haven't done very well. It baffles me that JPOG still has better management than Evolution 3 does. Just want to sort of secure off the sides of the building a little bit. Just to mark the boundaries of it. Then I think, obviously, benches. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think that's too bad of a recreation, to be honest. It's not, 100%, but until we get certain elements of stuff back, it's never going to be 100%. But I think on the whole, I'm reasonably happy with that. For a quick 2.5 hour build, I don't think it's turned out too bad. Not bad at all. Right, well, everyone, it is now 11 o'clock, so I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for joining me for the first of the June Jurassic Park Operation Genesis builds. Next week we'll probably be doing another JPOG build. I will probably might do like the viewing vent or something similar to that. I'll be back on Sunday with more Evolution 3. We'll just be continuing with the Montana tidy up. So yeah, I hope to see you guys then. Until then, don't forget to like the stream, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Wherever you are, stay safe, and good night.